For some reason, they seemed to think there was something sinister in his disappearance. It seemed that some bright spark in MI5 had read Harry's report of his inquiries at the university following the death of the man called Peterson, the man suspected of having been a Russian illegal. They had noted what Harry had learned, that Peterson taught on a summer course for visiting foreign schoolchildren. Now they were wondering if the course the missing student had been on might possibly have been the course in Vermont. It all seemed a very long shot to Harry, but he was secretly rather flattered that his initial report had aroused such interest, and so he was happy to do as he was asked and try to find out more. He had started by ringing the head of Peterson's department from his office in FBI HQ in Washington, but had found him impossible to reach. Thanks to a Cerberus-like secretary, a dry old stick from the sound of her voice, who on 3 separate occasions was adamant that the professor was too busy to speak to him. The 4th time he rang, Cerberus announced that the professor had left on a recruiting trip to the West Coast and had asked Angie Emerson, the woman Harry had met previously, to deal with him. Emerson was also away at a conference in Cleveland, but due back on Tuesday. Taking no chances on further delays, Fitzpatrick had made an appointment to see Emerson on Tuesday and booked a flight to Burlington. This time, Angie Emerson was more smartly dressed than on their previous encounter, in neat black trousers and shiny black loafers, though her hair was still precariously secured in a fragile bun with wisps poking out. She got up from her desk to shake Harry's hand, then motioned him to sit down. She said, "I'm sorry the boss isn't here."
"Well, I have to say, he didn't seem very eager to see me."
He explained about the rebuffed phone calls. Angie Emerson looked slightly embarrassed. "Miss Thurston, that's his secretary, can be a bit off-putting. And I'm not surprised the prof didn't want to see you. He's strongly socialist. I think he was a communist in his younger days. He's probably allergic to the FBI. He may have thought you wanted to see him about that."
"Well, he'd have been wrong. Hoover's been dead a long time. This is a follow-up to what we were talking about when we met last time. So I'm glad to be talking to you again rather than having to explain it all to him. If you remember, when I called on you, you told me that sometimes high school students came here to take IT courses during the summer vacation."
"That's right. It's a good use of the facilities, since otherwise they'd just sit unused for 3 months of the year. And frankly, for some of us, it's a much-needed supplement to our salaries. You don't become an academic to get rich," she said with a grin.
"And some of these students come from abroad?"
"Absolutely. They're not the majority, but there's always a group from overseas. This year they were from a high school in Germany. I'm pretty sure it was Hamburg, though they weren't German-born. Refugees from the Middle East, Syrian mainly."
"So they all went back to Hamburg?"
"That's right. They flew from JFK so they could have a couple of days to see the sights in New York."
"Did any of them stay on?"
Angie looked puzzled. "How do you mean?"
"You know, stay on for further studies. Enroll as students in the university."
"No, they're too young. Only 16, maybe 17. They'd have had to apply for next year, not this one. Presumably they would have to get visas, leave to remain, something."
"So no one connected with the summer course stayed on?"
Angie shook her head. "No one stayed as a student here." He hadn't flown up here to leave stones unturned, so he persisted.
"Or stayed to do anything else?"
She began to shake her head again, then stopped. "Well, no one," she conceded, "unless you mean Aziz. But he's not a student. He works in IT." He's the assistant to the division's tech head.